and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and another high protein, low calorie, weight loss friendly recipes meal prep. If you follow this meal prep, this can be over 100 grams of protein a day for you. And it's less than 1900 calories for all these meals per day. All the recipes and relevant information will be linked below, so make sure you check those out. But before we jump into the meal prep, today's video is very kindly sponsored by Thrive Market. Now, if you've never heard of Thrive Market, they are an awesome online membership-based grocery store, and they specialize in healthy and sustainable products. They actually have the highest quality standards in the industry, and what I love most is that it is so easy to curate your shopping experience. So if you have specific dietary needs, this is the place to be. So obviously, if you are shopping for plant-based products, they've got you covered. It is so easy. All you have to do is click a button. Yes, click a button, click the vegan sign, and you have got yourself a ton of vegan products to choose from, and they have so many awesome vegan products, okay? But whether or not you're gluten-free, nut-free, whatever it is, Thrive Market has tons of awesome options for you. And they also actively seek out products and brands that follow sustainable and ethical practices. And what's even greater is that you can order your groceries and get them delivered to your doorstep. And orders over $49 are shipped completely free. And if that wasn't convincing enough, if you join Thrive Market today, you actually get 30% off of your first order using my link below and a free gift. Okay, that's 30% off and a free gift if you use my link below. And thank you so much to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. Now back to your meal prep. The first recipe I made was this delicious scrambled tofu with black beans and veggie ground with a side of roasted potatoes. I actually made this the other day just out of whatever I had in my kitchen, and I loved it so much that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it into a meal prep. You can eat it like this on its own, or you can even put it in a wrap on toast. You could make little breakfast tacos, add some salsa. There's so many things you could do with this. It's so good and delicious.
First thing I'm gonna do is roast some sweet potatoes. So I'm starting by peeling my sweet potatoes. Now it is up to you if you wanna peel the sweet potatoes or leave the skin on. I have heard that the skin contains lots of fiber, so you may wanna leave it on. I decided to peel mine because mine just looked a little questionable, a little dirty. I don't know if it was, but I don't know. It just looked a little funky. So I did peel mine, and then I cut mine into these kind of bite-sized cubes. And I'm actually basically making my sweet potato wedges in the air fryer recipe, except for I just cut them into these sort of bite-sized pieces rather than wedges. So I'm basically following that exact recipe. So I'll link that recipe down below, but essentially I just added a few spices, a little bit of oil, and then I'm gonna pop these in my air fryer, which is literally the best thing ever. And then I'm just gonna let these cook in the air fryer while we make our scrambled tofu. So that's in the air fryer. Now we're gonna take a large pan on medium-high heat. We're gonna add a little bit of oil spray, and then I'm gonna add some diced onion. I had some red onion and some white onion that I just needed to use up, so I diced both, and then I'm just going to cook that up for a couple minutes. Then I'm gonna add some bell pepper. Once again, we're gonna cook that for a minute or so, and then we can add our tofu. So as you can see, I'm just crumbling up the tofu. I'm using extra firm. I'm just crumbling that with my fingers and my hands so that we can create a nice little scrambled tofu situation. And I just kind of saute that tofu, let that tofu cook for a few minutes, and then it should start to kind of become a little bit golden. And at this point, you want to add the seasonings. Now, if you know me at all, you know that I am obsessed with my scrambled tofu seasoning, which is basically a mixture of different spices that I love to use for scrambled tofu. And for scrambled tofu, I like to use a lot of spices. So I actually make this seasoning mix in advance, which just makes my life a lot easier. And I actually need to make a new batch soon. I just add as much of the seasoning mix as I want, and again, I'm gonna link that seasoning mix recipe below. And I also added in some ketchup. I've been kind of enjoying adding ketchup to my scrambled tofu. If you haven't tried it, try it out. I feel like it tastes really good. It adds a lot of flavor and it's kind of fun. So I did that, and then I added some black beans for some additional protein, and then I also added some veggie ground. So this is just a store-bought veggie ground beef sort of situation. This is just a really easy way of adding in a lot of extra flavor and also a lot of extra protein. So I'm here adding in a little bit extra spices. I added in some smoked paprika, and this is it. This is just a random concoction that I made the other day, and I was like, this is super high in protein, very easy and very lazy. easy. It's great. So I decided to make it for a meal prep. And of course, I'm going to add the roasted sweet potatoes on the side. And what's great about this is that you can enjoy this on its own, maybe with a little bit of salsa or some ketchup, or you can actually put it into like a breakfast taco, or you could put it on toast, you could put it in a wrap. You can kind of do whatever you want, and it's super high in protein, and it's actually really delicious and a great start to the morning, and it fills me up really well.
For my lunch, I made this delicious, creamy, high-protein roasted pepper pasta salad. Guys, I am obsessed with roasted pepper pasta in every way, shape, and form, and this one does not disappoint, okay? This is so good. It is fresh, it is creamy, it is high protein because I'm using high-protein pasta. I added some edamame beans, that's optional but recommended, and of course, I added a secret ingredient into the sauce that makes it creamy but also high protein. I'm sure some of you guys can guess what it is.
To make this absolutely delicious roasted pepper pasta salad, I'm taking some store-bought roasted peppers. You can also roast them yourself. I'll have the instructions in the recipe blog post, so check that out. But yeah, I'm just using store-bought. Okay, I'm adding some ingredients into a blender. So we've got tofu, we've got the roasted pepper, and we've got some lemon juice and some spices. Again, the link to the blog post will be below, which lists the ingredients. We're gonna blend that up, and that's gonna be our delicious creamy roasted pepper pasta sauce. Now we are going to add a bunch of goodness into a large bowl. So lots of veggies, some cooked high protein pasta, which is what I'm using. And I also added edamame beans for extra protein. And there you have it. We got protein in the sauce from the tofu. We got protein in the pasta because I'm using high protein pasta. We also have protein in the edamame because it's edamame. And then we got lots of veggies to add a little volume to this mix. And then of course you can taste it, add some salt and pepper as you need. And there you go. It's a big portion. It's yummy. It is great for lunch. I highly recommend trying this out. If you want, you can also just skip the fresh veggies and eat this as a warm dish. Maybe add some cooked veggies instead. And you can portion it into 4 servings. That's what I did. And this is going to be around 32 grams of protein per serving. And it is dabomb.com. Okay, dabomb.com.
My dinner is gonna be a very simple rice, teriyaki soy curls, and roasted broccoli concoction, okay? This looks like a bodybuilder's meal, you know what I'm saying? So here's how to make this vegan bodybuilder bowl, okay?
This is going to be yet another lazy recipe. I'm using soy curls. If you don't know, soy curls are basically dehydrated pieces of soy meat, and I'm just rehydrating it by adding some water. I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes while I chop up some broccoli. And as you can see here, I am cutting up the entire broccoli. I am not letting any of it go to waste. So I'm just cutting it all up, and I like to cut the stems into like smaller pieces. I just feel like it's easier to eat that way. And then I just added the broccoli into a big bowl, and I'm adding in a bit of oil because we're going to roast up the broccoli as well. Once again, using my air fryer, okay, which I basically use as an oven. And I'm just seasoning the broccoli with some garlic salt as well as some smoked paprika, my obsessions. And then I'm just going to mix it up. Of course, you can season your broccoli however way you want. And again, I'm just going to add the broccoli pieces onto my air fryer tray, and I'm going to air fry. By the way, if you don't have an air fryer, you can just use the oven. I would just up the temperature a bit, and also probably you may have to bake it for longer. But yeah, I would just use the oven. That's totally fine. And while that is in the oven or air fryer, we can now work on the soy curls. So with the soy curls, I kept it really, really simple. I'm just cooking it up on a pan, and I'm just seasoning with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit, maybe a lot of garlic powder. And we are just going to add some teriyaki sauce, store-bought, good old teriyaki sauce. Now you can make your own teriyaki sauce, but my name is not Nara Smith, okay? When I'm meal prepping, I do want to have little shortcuts. I cannot make everything from scratch, okay? I'm gonna make my life easy, so I just use store-bought teriyaki sauce, okay? That works. You can also use barbecue sauce if you'd like. Use whatever sauce. I'm also adding in some sriracha because I like a little bit of kick, you know? So yeah, don't be afraid to use store-bought sauces and stuff. We can't just make everything from scratch, okay? You gotta give yourself a little grace, okay? So now let's make our little bodybuilder bowl. I have some rice, which I forgot to mention, I was cooking that up. Some short grain brown rice. I think that's a mixture of brown rice and white rice actually. By the way, you can have white rice as well. Okay, that's not the devil. Anyway, we have some rice, we have the teriyaki soy curls, and then we've got the broccoli. This is kind of like a vegan version of beef and broccoli, I guess, but like really simple and easy. So yeah, teriyaki soy curl and broccoli bowl is ready to go. If you want, you can add a little bit of sesame seeds on top, and this is super filling, delicious, and it's about 33 grams of protein per serving, so pretty darn good, if I may say so. Now there is my high protein meal prep without using any protein powder. So if everything was divided into 4 servings, it'd be 104 grams of protein and 1,854 calories. So I think it's really good, okay? I divided my breakfast into 6 servings because I thought it was like a really big breakfast. So it would be a little bit less for me. But if you made all of these into 4 servings, then yeah, it would be 104 grams of protein. And obviously you can divide these into different servings depending on your own goals. If you wanted to make them into smaller meals but add in some snacks in there, that would be great as well.
All right, everybody, so that is it for my high protein, over 100 grams of protein meal prep without any protein powder. I hope you found this helpful. All the relevant links, recipes, and info will be below, so make sure you check those out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will link my meal prep playlist down below, so if you guys want more meal prep ideas, definitely check out that playlist. And once again, thank you so much to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. Guys, check out that link below and you can get 30% off of your first order plus a free gift today. So click that link below, shop at Thrive Market. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!